100 years ago, the average attention span was about 20 minutes. Today, the average attention span's about 9 seconds, the same attention span as a goldfish. It's so critically important that when you stand up to speak, when you stand up to make a presentation, when you're giving your next sales pitch, you've got to grab the attention of your audience immediately. You have to grab their attention, or they're going to tap, they're going to swipe, or they're going to be doing something else. So while people are coming into the Periscope, let me just share a couple of things with you. My name is Mitch Jackson. I've been a trial lawyer for the last 30 years in Orange County, California. Absolutely love what I'm doing. And I love sharing communication tips with my audience. I've got a blog. I'll be sharing this particular post at my blog in detail, all 10 tips. It's at streaming.lawyer. It'll go live in about 30 minutes, so check it out. But you know, regardless of whether or not you're on the stage, regardless of whether or not you're giving a presentation, you can use all of these 10 tips to start off your presentation correctly, to make an impact, and hopefully get everybody sitting on the edge of their seats and paying attention to what you're doing. While people are coming in, and by the way, you guys, do me a favor, swipe up on Android left to right on your iPhones. Let's bring some people into the show, both live and recorded. Really appreciate that. Once again, these tips, hi Andy, it's good to see you. These tips will be shared in detail with examples at streaming.lawyer. So go there in about 30 minutes and that post will go live. While people are coming in, I'd like to invite everybody to go over to human.social, get on my pre-release list for my new book, How to Become an Overnight Success in Business and Life. I'll be sharing 30 years of tips to help you with your people skills, your business skills, and with your digital skills. And I think all three of those are necessary in order to dominate the marketplace, your business, your profession, whatever you're doing in today's fast-paced world. So let's jump right into this Periscope and go through our 10 tips. And once again, at streaming.lawyer, I'll be giving examples for each of these 10 tips. So the first thing I like to do is to start off a presentation or a speech with a quote. Okay, you walk up to the microphone, you walk up to the lectern. Instead of thanking people for while you're there, instead of saying anything else, you know, just start off with a captivating quote. That's a great way to start off your presentation. One of the quotes that I really enjoy is by George Bernard Shaw. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. That's a great quote. And at streaming.lawyer, the theme of my examples has to do with how to be an effective communicator. So in each of these 10 tips or approaches, I share with you maybe what you could say if you're giving a presentation on communication. Okay, so that's kind of the theme, and I give specific examples to try to hammer home what I'm talking about. If you guys like these tips, heart it up. I really appreciate it. And once again, the written part of this blog post will go live at 10:30 my time at streaming.lawyer. So number one, start off with a quote. Number two, start off with a statistic. Okay, this is a statistic that if I'm speaking about communication, I might stand up and look at everyone and say something like, the next time you deliver a speech, keep in mind that what you're about to say to your audience is going to be forgotten in about 60 minutes. You know, just something that really gets them thinking to themselves, okay, that's interesting. I wasn't aware of that. What am I going to learn next? Okay, the next thing you can do, and I'm not going to give examples, but I'm going to go through the bullet points, is you can start off with a provocative question. Start off with a provocative question that gets everybody to start thinking. The next step is you can start off with a current news story, news item, or news event. Okay? Hey, what does everybody think about the presidential election? I mean, that gets everybody to start paying attention to what's going to come out of your mouth next, right? The fifth tip to starting off your presentation or your speech is to start off with a story that relates to what you're going to talk about. Just a short 1 to 2 minute story. It's almost like an elevator speech, right? And once you do that, then you can take a step back. You can thank your audience for being there. You can thank the person that introduced you, and they can go into your presentation. So those are the first 5. Let's go over the first 5 one more time for those people that are joining today's Periscope a little bit late, both live and recorded. Number 1, start off with a quote. Number 2, start off with a statistic. Number 3, a question. Number 4, a current news item or event. And number 5, a story that relates to why you're there, to your presentation. Okay, the 6th tip to start off your presentation, your speech, your live stream, whatever it might be, is a very, very sincere thank you and acknowledgement. I mean, that's fairly traditional, but if you do it right and you do it from the heart, that can really make a big impact depending on what type of organization or what type of event you're at. So that's number 6. Number 7 is have your audience write something down. You start off with something like this. You might walk up to the lectern and the microphone and say, there are 5 steps that exceptional communicators do each and every time they share their message. Get your pen and pencils ready because I'm going to share all 5 steps with you right now. Okay, so get your audience involved in what you're doing and have them write something down. Number 8, you can use humor. If you're good at telling jokes, and not everybody is, you can walk up and start off with just a killer joke. Here's the thing, most people, including me, are not great at telling jokes. Okay, but if you're one of those people who is gifted at telling a joke, start off your presentation with a great joke that's tailored towards the topic and tailored towards your audience. The caveat is make sure that your joke's appropriate for your audience. And that's where a lot of speakers really drop the ball. It's a dangerous way to start unless you're great at telling jokes. Number 9, make a prediction. And for those of you just joining, I'll go back and we'll go over the top 10 tips for starting your presentation before we sign off on the Periscope. Number 9, make a prediction, okay? Make a provocative prediction about something that's going on. If you can incorporate current news, current events, something's happening in the organization that you're speaking to, make a prediction that gets everybody thinking and appreciating the fact that you've got your finger on the pulse of what's going on in that organization. Number 10, you can start off with a poem or a rhyme. Now, once again, unless you're good at that, just like telling a joke, you may not, in fact, I would recommend you not start off with a poem, a rhyme, or a joke unless that's something you're very, very good at. But these are great ways to start your presentation, and I actually incorporate some of these ways into my opening statements, into my closing arguments. I like to capture my jurors' attention immediately in a different fashion than what opposing counsel's doing. So let's go through these 10 tips again. And by the way, for those of you just joining, at 10:30 this morning, in about 20 minutes my time, live at streaming.lawyer, I have the written version of these 10 tips along with examples, and I encourage you to go to streaming.lawyer and check it out. For the press, I took 2 communication classes in college and never heard these things before. Well, you know, this is real world stuff. This is what works, 30 years of doing what I'm doing. I'm telling you, if you want to stand out above all the noise, you've got to go about things a little bit different than everyone else. So let's go through these 10 tips real quick, and I think, it'll all make sense based upon what I've just said. Number 1, you can start off with a quote. Number 2, you can start off with you know what, before I go through these 10 tips, do me a favor, guys. Do you guys share this, swipe and share this with your audiences? I'd really appreciate it. Thank you, Daryl. I really appreciate it for sharing. And while you're doing that, get on my pre-release list for my new book, How to Become an Overnight Success in Business and Life. It's at human.social. I'll be giving away a free chapter, some other free perks. I'm really excited about it, sharing 30 years of business, people skills, and digital skills tips in the book. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, let's go through the 10 tips and then we'll wrap it up. Number 1, start off with a quote. Number 2, start off with a statistic. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate it. Number 3, start off with a question. Number 4, a current news item or event. Number 5, start off with talking about a story that relates to why you're there, the topic of the event. Number 6, a sincere thank you, a sincere acknowledgement for being there. Number 7, tell your audience they better grab their pens and pencils and maybe their smartphones and write this down. Tap it out because you're about to share some big time value bombs with them. Number 8, start off with humor. Number 9, you can make a prediction. And thank you, Daryl. And number 10, you can start off with a poem or a rhyme. Once again, I go over these 10 tips in writing with written examples at streaming.lawyer in about 20 minutes. I encourage you guys to check it out and then share it. Share it if you like what you see. I'd really make you know what? Have a great day also. In fact, make today your masterpiece. That's what I like to tell people. And listen, it's all about capturing the attention of your audience right away, doing things different so that you stand out above all the noise, and using these 10 tips for your next speech, your next presentation, your next live stream. I think it will really help jumpstart the event and what you're trying to accomplish. That's it, guys. My name is Mitch Jackson, Jackson & Wilson, streaming.lawyer here in Orange County, California. Hey, Andy, it's good to see you as usual, and thank you for the kind words. If you guys have any follow-up questions, reach out to me at streaming.lawyer. And don't forget, get on my list for my pre-release of my new book, How to Become an Overnight Success in Business and Life, at human.social. Thanks, guys. Make today a masterpiece. Bye-bye.